Welcome to the Clemson Dubcast Friday edition, October 12th. Man, it is nice and cool outside. Finally feels like fall. Open date. Looking forward to sitting on the couch and watching college football and not having to write about it. Always look forward to the open date. It's been a lot of fun this week. Taking a trip down memory lane, decade of Dabo, series of articles. So much fun, so many great stories, and a lot more coming this weekend. I think you're going to like it. Best part is it's all free. Got a special promo going. If you sign up, you get 100 days free, but all the articles, videos coming, it's all free. So if you aren't already a subscriber to Tiger Illustrated, please check it out. You got thousands upon thousands of people out there who will tell you it's the best $10 a month you'll ever spend. Title sponsor of the Clemson Dubcast, Parham Smith and Archenhold Law Firm in Greenville. Very happy to have them aboard. Couldn't do it without them. Blake Smith and Brooke Archenhold, both Clemson grads, both huge fans. Forte of their firm is medical negligence. They represent patients and their family members in medical negligence actions. They also handle all sorts of other complex personal injury litigation. I can vouch for them. About 10 years ago, a family member had a pretty serious medical situation with one of the local hospitals. Went to Blake Smith, and he very quickly and authoritatively gave us some great advice, and we were very thankful for that. Parham Smith and Archenhold offers free consultations. Give them a call, 864-990-4581 or parhamlaw.com. Also sponsoring the podcast is the Abernathy Boutique Hotel, right down about a block or two from the stadium. Great location. All the ESPN folks who are in Clemson at various points throughout the year, they stay there and they absolutely love it. Just because it's so convenient, so nice with all sorts of amenities, including the Taps Bar and Cafe. They also have a tailgate outside before home games and grilling out hot dogs, hamburgers. Got a DJ, got multiple bars outside. They're partnering with Jack Daniels for those events. So a lot of cool stuff over at the Abernathy. Got a lot of good beers on tap inside at Taps Bar and Cafe. My favorite is the Hugie Street IPA. So go on over there and give them a look. Check them out. Right across from Lower Lot 2 or on the internets at theabernathy.com. Okay, this guy needs no introduction. Time for me to get out of the way so you can listen to C.J. Spiller. Enjoy. Okay, we are honored to be joined by one C.J. Spiller. Thanks for being here, C.J.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about you for a second. How are you doing now? Tell everybody what you're up to.
Man, I feel great right now. I'm currently a free agent, so just working out, just seeing if an opportunity going to present itself, and just hanging around the football team and going over there and just being a watchful eye with the guys and sharing my input. If I run into some of the players or coaches, and just relaxing, I guess you can say, and then go over to Liberty High School and go to some of their football practices and help those guys out as much as I can. So I mean, I'm not just sitting around, so I'm trying to keep myself busy during this time of the year.
So Liberty, how did that come about?
Well, my girlfriend, she attended Liberty, and then I've been helping with the track team for the last 3 years now. So I kind of take over the sprinters, and kind of just fell in love with it. So it kind of just went from, helping with the track team to kind of, obviously going out with the football team, something that I'm very passionate about. So it's been great going out there and just seeing those kids develop and just trying to help them become better athletes.
So am I correct in saying you're just waiting for a call?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You just kind of wait and see if a call is going to happen. If it does, it'll be great. But if it don't, I'm still gonna be fine.
You have peace of mind about that?
Oh yeah,
whatever happens.
I'm definitely at peace with everything. I got a great supporting cast around me, so it's not like I'm down in the dumps and worry about stuff. So I'm just keeping it moving, keeping my head above ground, taking it one day at a time, and really just enjoying it because as we're just talking off air, life is too short, and you never know when that last day will come. Now,
did you buy a house on Kiowee, build a house on Kiowee?
Just built one. Recently built one about a year ago. So it was something that I wanted to do, a decision between here and Florida. And I figured since once I'm done with my playing days, I kind of want to be involved with the university. So I figured no better way than to have a home here. So that's been great, very very peaceful in the morning to go out there and just spend some peaceful, quiet time with yourself.
Any sort of idea in what capacity you might want to be involved in the future?
I think probably coaching, but I don't want to put a cap on just one certain thing. It could be coaching. It could just be something maybe like I was thinking about Bo Jackson, kind of like an ambassador, kind of what he does down there at Auburn, Herschel Walker, what he does at Georgia. So just something that I can do to try to represent both the football team and our university. I think that'd be something real cool to do because I'm just passionate about our school. I like the direction that we're in. I like the administrator that we have with the board of trustees and then President Clements. Anytime you have great people, you kind of want to be connected to them.
So the reason we're getting together, of course, is the 10-year anniversary of October 13th, a really tumultuous day, but yep. I want to rewind a few years before that, and your decision to come to Clemson was incredible in its own right, and then another crazy part of the story is you had to be recruited again.
Yeah.
So I guess that was 2006 after the Music City Bowl.
Yep.
Florida which recruited you heavily, which is basically your backyard.
Right.
They had just won a national title under Urban Meyer. Can you take it from there? Just relay that story.
It was just kind of out of frustration, really, to be honest. Going against Kentucky, a team that I think they had the worst rush defense in the country, and the kind of way the game unfolded with not just myself but James only getting, I think we only had a total of like 7 or 9 carries, and that's kind of what led to a lot of things, a lot of decisions. So kind of like I said, just a lot of frustrations. Didn't like the way the season ended. Then you go on to playing in the Music City Bowl team that we were very capable of winning and losing that game. So I think it just got to that boiling point where it was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this, if I want to be here. But that's why I was able to get away for a couple weeks before making a crazy decision, because I always tell people that anytime you make a decision based off your emotions or frustrations, it's usually not going to be the best decision. So I kind of just got away and just really talked to, some close people that had my best interests and not their own motives. And, talked to, like Coach Sweeney said, he had to recruit me again. So, I think he was out recruiting actually on the road. So, he called me and, was trying to just figure out what's going on. And, I just told him, it was like, hey, man, you just frustrated. You're letting emotions get the biggest of you, and that's kind of what it was. So once I kind of came back down to earth, I knew that it wasn't the right decision to leave.
So who was pushing you in that Florida direction?
I think it was really just me. It really, I always been a type of person to make my own decisions. Obviously, you got friends that hear that stuff, and they want you to come home. My mom wanted probably me to come home, but it really would have been me if I would have decided to leave. It would have been my decision, but it wasn't just one person, pulling me saying, "Hey, come on, we'll help you win. You can win here. We can become a dynasty." But like I say, once you kind of clear your head and don't let the emotions get too high, you kind of sit back and you realize, you weigh all your options and you realize the decision that you're about to make, that it don't only affect you, but it affect everybody. And, I kind of looked at it as a commitment, a vow. When you make a vow to someone, like a married couple, when you make a vow to your wife or husband, you're committed to those people. And that's kind of what it was when I signed with Clemson, is that, when I signed that letter of intent, I was, committed to this university for, 4 years.
I'm guessing that the thought of sharing a backfield with Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin was kind of attractive at the time.
I mean, it was very attractive. I mean, because, we all came out together. I knew Tim, going to watch him in high school, and, we kind of developed a friendship over the years, through that. So, he was my host at Florida. So, and then, with his family with, a great background, it was very tempting. But, I think Coach always says it best is that, you just blossom where you're planted, and, why go share? Why go in somebody else's backyard when you can have your own backyard? That was his message to me, really.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was like, why go to somebody else's backyard when you can have your own backyard? And, it kind of made sense.
So I think I'm getting this right. You're on your way back up here to pack your bags. And was there a reporter from the Jacksonville paper or something who got a hold of you and you told him, I think I'm going to transfer?
Yeah, I think it was. I can't kind of remember. It's been, 12 years? But I'm pretty sure it probably was a reporter down in the Florida area that I did tell him, hey, I was leaving, that I was transferring. And, it was crazy. Like I said, just the emotions and, in the car by yourself and you got all these crazy thoughts and 6 hour drive back and you got all these thoughts running through your head. How can we lose a game like we just lost and, and with us not running the ball the way that we should have run it. So it was really just a lot of selfish reasons really for me to even entertain that thought of leaving.
So you get back to Clemson.
Yeah.
Then what?
I think I got in the car. I think me and Coach Sweeney kind of went for a little ride, and like I said, we just had a great conversation, and we both just talked about emotions and frustrations, and about don't never make a decisions when you're frustrated or when you got emotions, because you're not really thinking clearly. So he was just kind of just take your time really. And just think about what you're about to do. And, I think that's where the phrase come up, why go to somebody else's backyard when you can have your own, and be a difference maker and change the perception of Clemson. And, after I got out the car with him and went back to my apartment in Old Lightsey at the time, because I was still a freshman, I kind of just thought about it. I was like, that does make a lot of sense, why, go be in somebody else backyard that, they guys coming off a national championship, so it kind of just would have been just a guy. And that's kind of what he wanted me to look at. And once I did that, it was night and day for me to just stay.
Now, you and I talked about this briefly last spring. Your mother and Dabo didn't really think much of each other for a while. Yeah. I guess she didn't even want you to come here in the first place, right?
Yeah, I mean, typical parents, especially my mom growing up in a single parent home. She wanted to see her baby be home. I'm 25 minutes from the University of Florida, so it would have been a whole lot easier for her to travel and, for her to get over there to see me. I think she was working in Bradford County, but it would have been very accommodating for her to have quick access to me, compared to, driving 5.5, 6 hours up here, because, for one, she had never been to Clemson. I had never been to Clemson until I came on my visit, so she didn't know much about it. Only person that she really knew was, Coach Sweeney, because he was recruiting me. So I can see where the frustration was, but, it took a couple of weeks, and then once she came up here to my first game as a freshman, she kind of realized why I fell in love with the place, and she's been down. She's been all in ever since.
How about her relationship with Dabo? They're really close now, right?
Yeah.
What was the key sort of part of turning that relationship?
I think it was just really just her comfort level, just, that her child is going to be taken care of. I think he kind of, gave her that confidence that, don't worry about anything, nothing's, is going to happen. And I think, that's why he's able to recruit the way he's able to recruit, because, he look at every guy on that roster as his own son. And, that's kind of what was her biggest thing, is that, who's going to take care of my son while he's away? I'm 5.5, 6 hours away, so it's not like I can just get up there and skip and a hop. So he'll assure her that, I'm going to treat him just like he's my son. I'm not going to, treat him any differently. So once she had that comfort level, she was good to go. And I think Miss Cav probably had a lot to do with it.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah, because she just assured that, CJ will be fine. We got a lot of people, great staff. That's the one thing that I love ever since I've been here, is just the staff, how it just make you feel like family. And they truly do treat you like your son. Not just the people that recruit you, but, every coach on that staff.
You said Coach Sweeney told you, make your own backyard. He has kind of made his own backyard too.
Yeah.
Over the last
a big one.
How often do you sit back and sort of try to comprehend the impact of you sort of allowing him, like if you don't come to Clemson, if you don't stay at Clemson,
mm-hmm.
not just once but twice, coming back for your senior year, the 2009 Atlantic Division title probably doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the impact of one person, I mean, you could argue that you've been the most valuable sort of piece in that whole puzzle in allowing him to get his start. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, Larry, I never really sit back and really think about that stuff. Only time it really come to my thought if somebody bring it up to me. But I never really sit back and be like, wow, I really changed the face of our program, or kind of open the door, because that really was never my intent when I came to Clemson. I had goals as a little kid. I did a podcast a couple months ago, and I said the same thing. I had goals as a kid that, once I left both high school and college, I always just wanted to be known as one of the greatest to ever do it. That was really my goal as a kid. And, I was very fortunate enough to have the opportunity. I never looked at it as that, I'm going to open up the door for other guys from Florida to come to Clemson. That never crossed my mind. But, it was because this university always been great. It had its ups and downs, and, you got 2 national championships. So there have been some great players that came through here. And, I'm just one of those blocks that just was put on the map or laid on the foundation to keep it going. So I never really look at it as, it was a one-man show, because, that it took a lot of people. It took a lot of players. It took a lot of, guys to, turn down a lot of other programs to come here. So, and that's kind of what I done.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to take credit for it, because I know that's not who you are. But I guess more a sense of there were these crucial sort of junctures. Like, what if this doesn't happen? What if that doesn't happen? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's always, you're always going to have those if factors. What if this didn't happen? If this didn't happen? What if we didn't lose that Wake Forest game? Do Coach Bowden still get released of his job? Or so you always have those questions. But I never been the one to really question what happened. I guess because of my faith, and I guess God always had a plan. He knew how it was going to go, and you don't understand it sometimes, but you just trust in that plan, and you just follow it. So, like I said, and that's kind of been my whole motto, is that just trust the plan and see what happens.
I know that when Coach Sweeney took over, one of his big messages was, we're going to get our playmakers the dang ball.
Yeah.
Going back to 2006, when you were really frustrated, I think it was 12 total touches for you and James, which that's crazy.
Yeah.
Could you sense, even though Coach Sweeney wasn't the play caller, his frustration too at that?
Nah, because he's not a one to really. I ain't gonna say he doesn't get frustrated, but if he does, he doesn't. You as a player, you can't really sense it. Mm-hmm. I think he does a great job of how to control his emotions, how to get his message across. So it wasn't never one of those things where he was frustrated. I'm pretty sure, inside he'll probably know what the heck we doing. We got 2 great running backs and going up against a terrible defense at the time. From a stat standpoint, and we didn't run the ball as effectively as we should have. So I'm pretty sure that probably questioned a lot of the coaches on that staff. But I never sensed that he was frustrated with the play calling, not from the outside.
I'll never forget a month earlier after South Carolina came in and won.
Yep.
You're walking off the field and you had a towel over your head. You looked really, really disappointed.
Yeah.
Do you remember the feeling in your head at that time?
Yeah, I was heartbroken, to be honest. And it wasn't nothing for me from my play. It was because of the seniors. I think that was probably one of the best leadership classes that I'd ever been around. I mean, you talking about Gaines Adams, you talking about Anthony Waters, and you lose him for the whole season, a big piece. And you see how much that game meant to those guys, because it was my first rivalry, so I didn't really know. I grew up on the Florida State-Florida rivalry, so I didn't know too much about the rivalry. You only hear about it until you experience it, to see the passion and the pride that they took into that game, and for us to come up short in our stadium, my heart was just broken for those guys, because that was their last game, and to go out the way that we did, it was just one of those things where I just felt like I just let them down, that I didn't do enough to help those guys win their last home game.
Fast forward into 2008, you mentioned that all the what ifs.
Yeah.
What if you beat Wake Forest? You didn't play in that game.
Yeah.
You were hurt. What was your injury?
Well, I had we were running a jet sweep, and I ended up getting hurt during that game with a hamstring injury. I think it was either the first half or the second half, but I ended up missing majority of the game because of tightness in my hamstring. I still remember, because it was a Thursday night game up there at Wake Forest, and it was one of those games that was kind of going back and forth, and I think we was kind of ranked pretty high going. We had high expectations going into that season because of the kind of pieces that we had coming back, and we dropped that one. And I get hurt, and as often we kind of just couldn't get going after that.
So that was a Thursday game.
Yep.
The next day, Coach Bowden announces that Willie Corn is the starter. And then you practice Sunday night. And then I think Monday is the day.
Yep.
Where were you when you first heard that Tommy Bowden was out?
If I had to take a guess, I'll probably say I was in class, because it's a Monday, so that's normally the big day for labs and stuff. So I'll probably either in class or I was with one of my tutors, and somebody just came in and said that Coach Bowden was stepping down, and I pretty much just went over to the facility, and I think it took everybody by surprise. Nobody didn't see that coming. We know we had just lost a heartbreaking game to Wake Forest, but we didn't think it was enough for Coach to step aside. So it was kind of like a surprise, and then I'm like, man, what is going on? Because I never experienced nothing like that as a player in my career. So that was one of those things. There was a lot of emotions going on, a lot of questions that didn't have a lot of answers to at the time.
Okay, and then you hear Coach Sweeney is the interim coach.
Yep.
What was your? Where
excited.
were you?
I was excited. I was excited because there's one thing about Coach. He just has this glow about him that he can relate to not just his position guys, but to everybody on the team. And I think that's kind of that's why guys have so much respect for him, because he doesn't just look at his group, just his guys. I can just remember a lot of guys just going to his office and just sitting down, just talking to him. So he just had that personality where guys just gravitated to him, and I knew right then that he was going to be the right person. And I still remember that team meeting that night, because as we practice late on Mondays, as they still do today. He came in and he said, "Hey, if you're gonna be all in, come to practice. If you don't show up." And everybody showed up for practice, so I knew that we was in good hands. So we did not have one player that didn't come to practice that night, and that was kind of his message. He was, obviously he was still torn apart, because he taking over for Coach Bowden, the guy that pretty much gave him the opportunity to come here, and so this is his first time ever leading the program, and he got a big bullseye on his back, but he wanted to make sure that that the players had his back, and as a senior group that year, those guys, they made a point to, we had to have each other back. We can't let the outside world affect what was going on inside the building.
Do you remember the player who asked, "Does this mean we're not going to have any more bubble screens?"
I do not remember the player that said that, but I'm pretty sure the bubble screen probably went out the door when he was named interim coach. Yeah, I don't think we had any bubble screens for that game playing against Georgia Tech, but I'm pretty sure it was probably one of the receivers or somebody.
What was that week like? I mean, you have this major event, and then by the way, you still have to prepare for a good Georgia Tech team.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, especially for me because I was, nursing a hamstring and trying to see if I was going to be able to play. And then you got, coaches scrambling around trying to, put a game plan together and put people in position to, do stuff that they had never done before. So, I mean, it was crazy, but we was able to get it together. And, we had a great week of practice and went out there against Tech. And
then you got, Jeff Scott was a defensive GA.
GA, yeah. He got to come over to the offensive side and be the receiver. So it was, like I said, it was a lot of scrambling around for those first, couple of days. But once everybody kind of settled in and, as the week progressed, throughout that whole week leading up to the game, I think everybody kind of got comfortable and we just tried to just go out there and just try to win that game.
I know that some of the coaches at the time, I mean, you had previous head coaches on that staff, Brad Scott, Vic Koenig. Of course, some of them are probably sitting there going, what? Did you get any sense of that from the assistant coaches that they were sort of questioning the...
No, I didn't get any sense from that, that they was questioning. If they did, it was behind closed doors or with whoever they talked to. But as players, we never got a sense of that, that other staff members was, I guess, upset or jealous that coach took over. I think everybody kind of just respected him. Obviously it was his first time, never been a coordinator, and and now he's finna lead the charge of the program. So I'm pretty sure, as a human being, maybe that thought came through their mind, but as a player, I never sensed that there was jealousy. I think it was, how do we get a game plan put in place to go out here and try to win the game, because it was gonna be a game played regardless, no matter what who was the head coach.
Did you speak to Rob Spence that day before he left?
I did not get a chance to speak with Coach Spence, but I always had great respect for Coach Spence. He was one of those guys that he took pride in his work. I still remember. I tell people all the time. I still remember. I think it was maybe the North Carolina game, and we getting ready to go into our offensive meeting at the hotel, and we walk in. Well, I walk in because I got there kind of early, and I just see stacks of cups in front of him, and it was like, yeah, them my coffee. I've just been sitting up watching film. So he took pride in his work. He took pride into studying film, trying to position. I guess he just loved running bubble screens.
Do you remember after that night's practice? That was back when the media grabbed all the players just walking off the field, and there were all those cameras. James Davis was in tears. Did you ever talk to him about that? What he was feeling, or?
I think it was just. I don't know, man, because, he had to have been here, a couple of years. So, it was only my second year. I think he had to have been, 3 years now. So, he had to have been with Coach Bowden his whole career. And, I think Coach, played a big role into him, coming here and giving him an opportunity to start. So, as a player, you feel for a coach that step aside that you have so much respect for. And I guess you can kind of sense it from that point of view.
Did you talk to Coach Bowden at all at that point or thereafter?
Nah, probably later on, I had a chance to, have a conversation with him, but it wasn't nothing to do with him stepping aside. He just said, you're a great player, just keep doing what you're doing and everything else will be fine.
So you lose to Georgia Tech, 21-17, I think.
Yep.
You have an open date. Got to go to Boston College.
Yep.
They have just given y'all so much heartache.
Oh, man.
The previous 3 years. Including in 07 when you could win the division.
Yeah.
That was the pivotal moment, right? When you pull that game out, you had the kickoff return late. Is that your view, too, that's when that was the biggest game of that?
Yeah, it was, because we had to drop, I think, that'd make 2 in a row, I think, with Wake Forest and Tech. And then, you get the bye week, so you got to hear all this, the outside, what's going to happen, who's going to be the coach. So you're trying to block all that stuff out, and then you trying to prepare for a tough opponent against Boston College at their place, a night game, and we kind of know what to expect. So we knew it was a must-win type game. We never came out and said it, but inside, deep down, a lot of guys felt like this is a must-win, not just for the coach, but just for the seniors, for them to have opportunity to have the chance to go to a bowl game. And we knew that, we had to start stacking some wins together to get to the opportunity. So we just got the mindset, hey, we got to do whatever we can to go up here and get a win. So I think we had a great week, and, that gave me a couple more weeks to let my hamstring heal up. And, once that week came, I was feeling great. And, I just told Coach, hey, as many touches as you want to give me, I'll be ready to go.
That team was ranked number 9 going into the year. That was back when a top 10 ranking was unheard of around Clemson.
Yep.
What was the problem with that team as far as clearly the people ranking y'all that high were missing something? Was it the offensive line? Was it too much youth in some places? What was it?
I don't think it was, that. I think it was, we had never been in that position before. When I sit back and look at it, and I don't know if we just knew how to handle that type of success like how these guys does now, because that's a different thing when you rank, like you say, top 10, something that hadn't been done here probably in forever, and to be in that position, you got to be able to handle the success and the spotlight that's come with that, and if you don't, it'll humble you really quick, and I think that's kind of was our downfall. I don't think we was able to handle that. The outside expectations. I think we got too focused on the outside expectations instead of on the inside.
Y'all also had injury issues.
Yeah,
You've already talked about yours, Cullen Harper's
his
shoulder.
Yeah, so it's just one of those snowball things that just kept tumbling down the hill, and we could never just get it together. But but we knew going into that game that it was a must win, and we knew that it was going to be a hard fought game, and that's the way we prepared.
Business owners out there, if you own a business that accepts credit cards, you need to listen up. Tandem Payment, based right here in the upstate, run by Clemson folks, is changing the face of payment processing, quickly becoming the most cost-effective solution for all small businesses. Tandem's program saves you up to 90% on processing charges and gives your customers what they love most, choices. This is not some crazy introductory offer. Tandem's technology allows business owners to offset their credit card processing costs by applying a small customer service charge to each sale they make. If you want to know more, visit tandempayment.com today. Former Tiger Hot Rod McDowell works over there at Tandem Payment. They handle all their business and customer service face-to-face. So give them a call, 864-672-1570. If you're tired of spending an arm and a leg on all those credit card processing fees. So fast forward into South Carolina, regular season finale. A lot of people think that game's going to be close. I think people are even picking South Carolina.
Yeah.
And y'all blow their doors off. I mean, y'all didn't run the ball well for most of that year, but y'all did that day.
Yeah.
Did you go to bed that night thinking that Coach Sweeney's going to get the job for good?
Nah, really didn't. Just went to bed thinking I don't want to have that feeling that I had my freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
That's really was my whole mindset, was that I don't want to have that feeling again. Because we didn't know what was going to happen with our coach. We knew that he had a shot. We had to heard. You hear the whispers on campus. If he win, good chance that he's going to take over full time. But you try not to pay too much attention to that stuff, because then you get your mind off focus of the main goal, and that's to try to go out and win a rivalry game against a tough opponent in South Carolina. And we knew that they didn't care what was going on. They were probably happy that we was having so much distractions going on here. So my mindset going into that game was, I don't want to have that feeling that I had my freshman year for these seniors. I think it was James last year. And I wanted him, that's my road dog, and I wanted him to go out with a bang.
I Thomas Austin and a few of the other offensive linemen putting Dabo on their shoulders and the crowd chanting Dabo. I guess that you remember that pretty vividly.
I knew right then probably okay. It's a good chance he probably gonna get it. I think he had to won over the crowd. I think the fans had to kind of see his passion that he has for the program, and they was proud of the product that they were seeing on the field. And what better way to top it off than beating your rivalry against South Carolina? And I think guys was kind of just relieved. We had been through so much throughout the whole season. Guys was just happy to finally to be able to say that we're going to be able to go to a bowl game.
By the way, do you keep in touch with James?
Yeah.
What's he up to?
He's down in Atlanta right now. He coaches like little league sports. So right now they're in football season, and he's actually his team is the Clemson Tigers. So they have
Is that right?
Yeah, they have the same colors and everything. He was up here this spring. For the spring game, he brought some of his young players up here to watch the game. But I've been on him because he hasn't graduated, so I keep telling him he's the long one out of me, him, Andre Ellington, and Jamie Harper. He's the one that hasn't got his degree, so I've been on him hard about that.
Think he's gonna get back up here?
I think he's gonna finish. I know he will. I think he takes great pride into it, and especially with him having kids now. I think it's something that's top priority for him.
The press conference in January of 2009, I remember before you came in there, I was telling people there's no way he's coming back.
Yeah.
And even your head coach, Dabo Swinney, is standing in the back of the room. He doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
All right. So take everybody back to before the press conference starts. It's you and Dabo in his office with Tim Beret. Is that right?
I think Tim might have was in there. It was me, coach. Maybe Miss Caff was in there. I think Miss Sweeney was in there, and that was it. Because I had just because I was in my apartment before I even went to the press conference. I was on the phone with my mom, my family back in Florida, and some conversations I was having with them, just about if I was going to leave or if I was going to stay, and so it was a lot. And then once he seen me coming to the office, he seen that I was broken up between the decision what I wanted to do, because actually I already had to told my mom when I got out the car, when I got up to McFadden and I got the car, I kind of hung up on my mom. I told her I was staying.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I left my phone in the car. So, but when I went into the office, I was still broken up, because for one, I had just, hung up on my mom and told her I was staying, so I knew the frustration that I was going to get from that. And, he seen that, and he all he did was just hug me. And he was like, hey, you can't make this decision based off other people, opinions or thoughts, even the ones that's close to you. You have to make the decision based off what you feel and what you think is best in your heart. And, obviously he wanted me to stay, because this is his first time being a full-time coach. And, he wanted me to be a part of that. And then, we really just talked about, graduation. I was so close to graduating, and he was like, you're so close to graduating. Why give up that opportunity to come back and get it when you can do it right, do it now and still have, and also have a chance to play one more season, and once we had that conversation, I think he was still kind of nervous about what I was going to do, because I didn't say yes or no. I just like, you right. And then I just went up there and did it.
Okay, so you get back to your car and there's your phone sitting there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how did that conversation go with your mom?
Oh, it went tough. It went tough. I think she got the revenge. She hung back up on me this time. But I knew it was the right decision, and then plus it was a good thing because I was getting ready to go into track season, so I was able to go to track practice and kind of get away from it for a little bit. But to see the reactions of my teammates and how excited they were for me to come back for more and more season, that meant the world to me, because I'm not a guy that's a rah-rah type guy. I kind of just let my actions do all the speaking for me. So to see that reactions from my guys, something that I didn't, you never don't know what those guys are going to do, so to see the reaction that they had, it meant a lot to me.
It's been a bit of a tradition over the years of guys who had plenty of reason to go, stay.
Yep.
Christian Wilkins, Cleveland Farrell, Austin Bryant, Vic Beasley, Taj Boyd. I'm sure I'm missing some. Obviously, people have left, but a lot of guys have stayed too. Is that you think that's just the pull of this place?
I think every guy's just different, to be honest. I can only speak for myself. I knew the reasons why I stayed. I mean, this place does have a special feel to it. Yeah. I think it's the people that make it so special, and I think guys just have just want to just give it one more go, because once you leave here, you don't get it anymore. You don't get to run down that hill anymore. You don't get to be around those guys in that locker room anymore. You can come back and you'll be like me. You'll be a former guy, a former player, and you'll just have the memories. So I think you kind of just want to make as many memories as you can while you got the opportunity. And so I think that probably plays a part in it with some of the guys.
I know you thought the world of Coach Sweeney and the potential under him, but did you think something like this was going to happen?
I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I just knew that he was the right person for our program, and people always want quick success. And I think the thing that, I'd have learned just by sitting back watching is that, quick success is only for a short term. And, to have sustained consecutive success as we have over the years, it takes time to build it up. You have to recruit your guys. You have to get the right staff in place. And that takes time, and I think that's kind of what Coach has done so far. Some guys that been able to go off and get head coaching jobs. Some guys that just left, and he brought in other guys that's been great for our program. And he's able to recruit the right players that fits his mold, that fits the Clemson mold of what he's looking for in a guy. So it just takes time, and once it all comes together, then you have opportunity to win a national championship as they did 2 years ago.
I think I remember before the trip to Tampa, seeing you in the GSP. You probably don't remember it, but I do. GSP Airport. You were flying down to Tampa.
Yep.
To watch that game. Where did you watch it from?
I was on the sideline.
Okay.
Yep. I was very fortunate enough to get a pass to be on the sideline, and I knew I wasn't going to miss it for the world, because to have the opportunity to beat the team that beat you the previous year for the championship, I knew I had to be there, and it was crazy emotions on that sideline, but it was great, and once that clock hit 000, and I seen that we were gonna be national champs, just a bunch of emotions just fell over. Like we did it. We did it.
You have been around Coach Sweeney a lot recently.
Yep.
And obviously you were around him a lot in the early days of his tenure. Is there anything that you've noticed, any way he's maybe grown, anything that's different in your eyes now?
I think, he'd have grown as a coach and as a player, and I think that's the thing that he stresses, to both the players and the staff, is that you want to grow each year. You don't want to just stay stagnated in one spot. And I think he became a better head coach over the years. He's only in 10 years, so it's a long time, but it's really not a long time for him. So I think he'd been able to look at and see how other head coaches do things, and he kind of takes some stuff from them and kind of just twist it into his own way. And he's able. Thing I love about him, he's a learner. Like, he's not one of those coaches that think he knows it all. He's always out to learn. How can he be better as a coach? What can he do to make his program better? He look at his failures and see, what went wrong here. How can we make that a whole lot better? And then he look at, the stuff that make them great. How can we keep building on that? And I think that's what you look for as a head coach, And then you look at his staff, the people that he'd put in place to lead these young guys, and that everybody has the same mission, and that's to make these guys great people first, and great students. And then the football stuff will take care of stuff. And, he want them to coach them hard and love them. And you have to do that as a coach.
I'll never forget your pro day.
Yep.
It's a dang monsoon outside. We go. It's in the track facility.
Yeah.
With that artificial turf all
that's
wrinkled.
the old school turf they had down.
And the scouts are like, we're not going to do this in here. It's too dangerous for the kids.
Yep.
And I'll never forget, number one, watching y'all out there in that monsoon. And then number two, afterward, over in the West End Zone, Dabo, not a happy camper about that. And I think that set the momentum forward to get in the indoor facility and all that. What's your recollection of that?
Well, I heard the stories about him being, I guess, ticked off about what happened. But I just remember, it was our pro day, and, we was, I think we did like the broad jump in the vertical. And it was surprising because they all came to me. It was like, hey, we don't really want to do no position drills on this right here. Like, it's really not good. A guy could, mess his knee up. And, it's like, hey, it's raining outside. We could, do it again we can do it at a later date. Me being from Florida, I'm like, rain to me is really not an issue. They're like, so do you want to go out there and do your position stuff? And I was like, let's go. Let's go. And, I told the guys, I was like, hey, we finna go out here. It's raining, but don't let the circumstances dictate from what you want to do, and put your best foot forward. And I think, I kind of had to learn that being around coaches that, you can't control the mother nature, only control the stuff that you can do. So I knew that, hey, if I want to, show great leadership, to these scouts and to my guys, is that, we're gonna have to go out here and we're gonna have to do what we got to do. And I just remember us going out there and we're going through drills. It's downpouring. And I remember Coach, I think he said he was with John Foxy. I think he was the Carolina Panthers coach at the time. I think he told me they were standing up on the umbrella. Mm-hmm. And I knew he was probably embarrassed. I didn't have a chance to talk to him after the pro day. He was like, hey, he just said something briefly to me, like, you did a great job. But, I'd have heard about him being frustrated and embarrassed about, how everything went down with not having a proper place for guys to be able to showcase their skill on the biggest day of their lives.
I guess the football program moved into the West End Zone in your senior year, 2009. But most of your career, y'all were over in the McFadden building.
McFadden and Jeremy, yeah.
Is it amazing to you to consider the difference between then and now facilities-wise?
Oh, yeah. These kids don't know how good they got it made. But the thing is that, we never complained about Jervy or McFadden. Like, we thought it was the best thing smoking.
You never knew it was bad.
Yeah, we never knew. We never knew how long that building been there. But we thought it was the greatest thing for us, and God didn't complain. We did what we had to do. And, fortunate enough, we was able to maintain. And, I don't think I never heard one guy complaining about, we need a new facility. I don't think that ever came up, but I'm glad that we have a new one now, though. But, guys really were just happy with the stuff we have.
Do you remember your recruiting visit? Was the West End Zone being built at that time?
That would have been 2006. I don't think it was. I'm not sure when they started building it.
Was James Davis coming here a big factor in you coming here?
No, not really. That question came up throughout my whole recruiting process, from, my family, my friends, and, the coaches had to told me that, hey, we got a great running back there. I think James had just came off a great year, his freshman year. And, and I told him, hey, I'm not scared of competition, and that's kind of how I was raised, that, you never be afraid to go out and compete. And that's what I told the coach, and that's what I told my family and friends, is that no matter where you go, you're going to have to compete, because I don't want to go somewhere and they just, you the guy, you can just have it. Like, I don't want something just to be given to me. I want to have to earn it. And I was like, with James been there, that doesn't faze me at all. I'm coming there to compete, and we'll see what happens.
So, you remember the index card, the business card, the contract?
A little contract. Yeah, first contract I ever signed. Well, second one.
So you remember that conversation, Dabo whipping out the...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was just his... I don't know if it was like his card, like his recruiting card that, coaches give you. But I just remember it was in our... Back at my high school in our field house, and it was me, Coach Sweeney, and another one of my teammates, Mathis Jackson. And, because one of my other teammate, Kevin Alexander, already had committed to Clemson. So I think it was coming down to see him. And I think I was either walking through or he just wanted to see me or talk to me. And they got me out of one of my classes that I wasn't really doing nothing there. They're like, hey, this coach from Clemson want to see you or talk to you. I was like, all right. And I was like, I'll come up there and visit. He really didn't believe. He thought it was a joke. And, I'm pretty sure, the coaches here probably was telling him you wasting your time and doing all this stuff. So he didn't believe me. And he was like, okay. And then he whipped out the index and was like, all right, sign it. I want to make sure that you're going to follow through with your word. And sure enough, me, him, and Mathis Jackson signed that little index card saying that I'll come visit Clemson. But I knew my grandparents always told me always be a man of your word and stick with your word, because your word is what all you got. So when I told him I was coming to visit, I think it kind of shocked him a little bit, like, oh, shoot, really? And I think that's why he whipped out that index card to make sure.
And Burton Burns was not happy.
Yeah.
Because he thought y'all that Clemson didn't have a prayer. And I think they had to back off of somebody else, maybe,
I
or
want to
something
say
like
it was Terry Grant.
That's exactly right.
I think it was Terry Grant that they had to back off. And I remember Coach telling me that, later after I had done committed, that, the coaches thought it was crazy. Like, they literally thought that he was wasting his time. But I think that kind of helped build our relationship because he showed his faith and his will to not to give up and to keep going and to take a chance. And I guess we was in it together. And so I guess he took a lot of grief at the moment until I committed. But yeah, it was Terry Grant because I still remember him calling me. It was the last visit that Coach Bowden could be for a home visit for the head coach, and he thought I was going to commit to him that night. And I was like, I want to surprise, because I hadn't told nobody where I was going. I didn't tell my mom, didn't tell no friends. I was like, no, I want to surprise my mom tomorrow. Because signing day was the next day. So they came the night before. And I was like, no, I want to surprise my mom. But I'm like, listen, I'm coming to Clemson. And I still remember him telling me that I think Coach Burns and Coach Bowden was getting ready to get on the plane to go to Terry Grant press conference. Because I think he was getting ready to make his commitment to Clemson. And I remember him calling me while they was either at the airport or on their way to the airport and saying, listen, are you coming to Clemson? And I still remember that I said, Coach, do not get on the plane. I'm coming to Clemson.
Wow.
I said, okay.
So it was between Clemson and Florida State, right?
For what? For the commitment? Yeah. Clemson and Florida State, with Florida right there at the door. But, it came down to really Clemson and Florida State. And I really just fell in love with this place once I came on my visit, to be honest, and had a great, I didn't go to a game. I think I want to say it was Labor Day, because I remember they was out of school or fall break or something, but I remember James and Jacoby ended up staying back, not going home and hosting me on my visit. But I know it wasn't any school. They was out at the time when I came up here for my visit. And I remember we just had like a little house party, little house gathering right there in Thornhill, right there at James' apartment. He just got some of the guys that didn't go home, and they just came over and we just hung out. And it was a great visit. It was, you had Jeff Davis. He I think he sung the alma mater. I think he told me that was the first time that he ever done that for a player. Miss Jill, then we went to Copper River that night with some people, and had a great time. So I just fell in love with it, and I tell people all the time is that this was the only place where I called back home to my mom and told her that it was a place where I can come play for 3 or 4 years. The only place.
So you left your visit thinking that?
Yeah, okay. I left my visit. I don't know what it was. They must have just did a great job of giving me a great room over there at the hotel, able to look at the water, because it was like, wow, this is crazy. I mean, I'm an old country boy. I had never seen nothing like this. I had to been out to Southern Cal. I was out there to when Reggie went off against Fresno State, so I kind of seen like some big time games. But it was something different. It was something very different about this place.
You were at that game when Reggie Bush had
I was at the Fresno State game when he did that little crazy stuff on the sideline, when he went crazy. I was there at that game.
And Pete Carroll's telling you, hey man, you can do the same thing.
Yeah, that was his measure. Hey, you can literally come in and because that was Reggie last year, so he was like, you know, he leaving and you'll come right in and fill right in. But I knew I wasn't going to California.
Do you remember Dabo's reaction when did you call him after your press conference?
After my press conference? Yeah. I think we either text or I might have called him. No, we did. He did, because he was like, whatever you do, get that letter of intent to the fact. Do not let nobody up. Like that was really, they wanted to make sure that it was legit, because I think they had heard some crazy stuff going on between some people, some friends from Florida, you know. But he was like, we need to make sure that signed letter of intent get to the fax machine. So that was the big thing after the press conference. Hey, we need to get that letter of intent here quickly.
Had you, over the years, did you ever talk to Urban Meyer? Like, I'm sure he looks back and says, dang it.
Oh, yeah. I seen him at the first time we played Alabama out in Arizona. He was on the sideline. And the first thing he did was gave me a little jab. he was still mad about the decision that I didn't attend Florida. He was like, you the only guy that I let get away from me. I was like, well, you just didn't recruit good enough like Coach Sweeney.
Wow.
But yeah, now we always have a little kick out of it every time I run into him about that.
So at what point did you sit back and think, you know what, Clemson is a place that I could settle and build a house and make my life?
Yeah. It was probably a few years ago when I actually thought about it, like what I want to do once I'm done playing, like where I want to be. And I just remember having conversations with, you know, some guys that went to other colleges. And, you know, one of my good friends, Andrew Zhao, that was a quarterback at Alabama. And I just remember him just telling me, hey, you know, late Butler is always going to be late Butler. Home is always going to be home. But, you know, you done built, you know, some great relationships up at Clemson. So, you know, if I was you, I would probably try to stay close by there, because that would be some place where, you know, you can always have connections at. And I think that kind of really sat with me. And when I thought about that, I was like, you know, he's right had such a tremendous time here. You know, spent 4 years here, and I built some great relationships. So why not? And I knew I knew my passion was something that I wanted to do with the university. Just looking at, you know, Derek Brooks and, you know, like I said, Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker, how those guys are so involved with, you know, with their university and the football team. I was like, you know what, that's something that I want to do. That'd be something pretty cool for me to kind of take on.
Is there any, like, with that in mind for the long term, is there any networking that you feel like you need to do or already you're doing, like building relationships with trustee types or whatever?
I'm just trying to just meet as many people as I can. You know, I always have opportunity to meet. I've met all of the board of trustees, great people. And then, you know, I have a great relationship with President Clement. So I just always just trying to figure out, you know, what can I do? What can I do to help our university? You know, like I say, not just football, but our university, you know, anything that you want me to do, you know, I'm willing to help out, to help our brand.
Anything we haven't talked about that we should cover?
I think we covered the whole 9 yards right there. That was, I mean, that was good going back down memory lane.
Yeah.
But it was,
I could talk for hours more, but I'm sure you have stuff to do. So CJ won't say it, but I will. The most important player in Clemson football history. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, too, CJ Spiller. Boy, that was a lot of fun. Really appreciate him taking the time to sit down with us. Be sure to stay tuned to the website, tigerillustrated.com, through the weekend. Got some really, really cool stuff coming. Had a lot of fun putting it together earlier this week. Monday morning, we have another distinguished podcast guest. Have already recorded that one. I'm going to keep that one a surprise, I think. So be sure to check back in Monday morning. Thank you to Parham Smith and Arch & Hold Law Firm, downtown Greenville, our title sponsor. Also, the Abernathy Boutique Hotel in Clemson, a couple of blocks from the Rock, and Tandem Payment in Greenville. Most of all, thank you to all of you for making this a twice weekly part of your routine. Really appreciate it. Everybody have a great open weekend. Enjoy all the games, and we'll check back next week. Cheers.